Subscribe to Movie Recap Chime channel now.
In the year 2050, on the planet Niflheim, Mickey wakes up covered in frost at the bottom of a deep crevasse. He spots a nearby ship and calls out to his friend Timo, who is stunned to see Mickey alive. But when Timo approaches, he only takes Mickey's flamethrower, ignoring the idea of helping him since Mickey is expected to die soon anyway. This version of Mickey is actually a clone, the 17th in line. Every time one dies, the company he works for simply prints a new body. His memories are uploaded weekly and transferred to the new clone, ensuring there are no memory gaps. The process has become so routine for the science team that they barely notice Mickey anymore. While printing Mickey 17, a hose disconnected from the machine, interrupting the process, finally reattached it. On Earth, cloning is illegal. It's only allowed in space and only for individuals known as expendables. Mickey is one of them, sent on dangerous missions without concern for his safety because he can always be replaced. Once, they sent him outside the spaceship for repairs. The real purpose was to expose him to radiation so they could observe his symptoms as he died. When a tool accidentally severed his hand, the scientists found it fascinating. The next Mickey they printed had just 15 minutes to live. So instead of saving him, the scientists focused on taking biological samples Dr. Dorothy called special. All of this started 4 years ago, back on Earth. Mickey was best friends with Timo, who convinced him to borrow money from dangerous people to open a macaroon shop. The business failed, and soon debt collectors came after them, demanding repayment. Mickey and Timo tried to flee, but were hit with special grenades that stunned them into unconsciousness. When they woke up, they were face to face with mafia boss Darius, who enjoyed dismembering victims with a chainsaw. Realizing they would be killed if they didn't pay, they decided to escape Earth. Mickey applied to join a colony expedition, just one among millions of applicants. The expedition was led by former Congressman Kenneth, who had lost his last 2 elections. He still had a fanatical following, gaining major sponsorship from a religious corporation. Timo easily joined the expedition thanks to a forged pilot learner's permit. Mickey, lacking qualifications, unknowingly checked the expendable box on his application. A company rep gave Mickey a tour and explained the expendable process. The printer used all organic waste aboard the ship, food scraps, human waste, even corpses, to create clones. But Mickey was so distracted by the rep's alluring scent that he barely heard her. She removed a pimple from his forehead so it wouldn't appear on his clones, then sent him into a scanning machine. Next, she backed up his memories onto a data brick. He was injected with a solution that triggered a memory of his mother's death. As a child in a car, he had pressed a red button that caused the vehicle to crash. The memory overwhelmed him and he broke down. The rep handed him a gun and told him to self-terminate to prove his faith in the system. Mickey couldn't do it, so she pulled the trigger, but nothing happened. Soon, the spaceship launched and Mickey had to adapt to life with the crew. The food was awful, and strict rations were enforced. Anyone who took extra triggered a loud alarm and was forced to drop it. During their first lunch, Kenneth appeared with his wife Yalefa and church-appointed assistants. It was obvious Kenneth wasn't very intelligent. He was just a puppet, controlled by Yalefa and the church. Most of the crew admired Kenneth, but some remained indifferent. That's when Mickey noticed a security agent named Nasha and instantly fell for her. She invited him to sit with her, and they quickly bonded while sharing food. Meanwhile, Kenneth delivered a grand speech about creating a new society on another planet. Due to limited rations, he banned any form of intimacy. The rule was unpopular, but he promised that once they reached the new planet, they would start an intercourse encouragement campaign. His followers cheered. In their spare time, they rehearsed different positions and assigned them numbers for future reenactment. One day, Nasha threatened to shoot them so they could experience it firsthand. This sparked a fight in the cafeteria, and the whole crew ended up locked in a cage for the night. Mickey's rations were halved. When women like Kai and Jennifer tried to get close to Mickey, Nasha quickly stepped in and reminded them he was already taken. Eventually, the ship arrived at Niflheim. The scientists sent Mickey outside without a helmet to collect virus samples. He immediately fell ill and died, but the experiment was repeated several times in an attempt to develop a vaccine. One time, Mickey was still alive inside the body bag, but the scientists tossed him into the cycler ring anyway. Thanks to Mickey's 12 through 16, a vaccine was developed, allowing humans to visit the planet without masks. Mickey was sent out with the first exploration team, and they entered a freezing cave. Kai noticed a hole in the wall and discovered some worm-like creatures. One of them lunged at her, and when she ran, it grabbed her leg. A team member fired on the creature, causing all the aliens to flee. As they tried to leave, Jennifer froze upon hearing a creature above her. She fired at it, causing the ice to break, and was crushed to death. Back on the spaceship, Kenneth reprimanded Mickey for not dying instead of Jennifer, as he was meant for that purpose, also viewed footage of the creatures, and named them creepers. Mickey's rations were cut in half again, and his shift doubled. He was sent out to collect creeper samples, with Timo flying by to deliver food. One afternoon, Mickey stepped on some thin ice, causing him to fall into the crevasse. After Timo left, a large creeper found Mickey and began dragging him away. The baby creepers surrounded him, nibbling his fingers playfully. The mother creeper pulled him out of the crevasse and made sounds that Mickey repeated. As he stared at the creatures, he concluded that clones were so repulsive that even aliens didn't want to eat them. Mickey spotted a company truck passing by and tried yelling for help, but they didn't hear him. Determined, he ran and climbed on top of the vehicle. When he returned to the ship, Mickey went to his room and lay on his bed, only to find that Mickey 18 had already been printed and was there too. 17 panicked as multiples were illegal, and 18 threw a weight at him to knock him out. The issue with multiples began back on Earth when cloning technology was discovered. The ethics committee feared cloning could be abused, especially since one scientist, Alan, was suspected of being a sociopath. A witness identified him as the man behind the deaths of homeless men in the city, but Alan had a solid alibi. Eventually, the police raided his home and found that he had secretly cloned himself to commit the crimes and create an alibi. While two of the Allens were being interrogated, a third Allen continued killing homeless people. He was eventually caught, and the situation sparked a heated debate on how the law should handle clones. The church opposed multiples, claiming that one soul should only inhabit one body. Kenneth joined the debate, stating that printed bodies were a sin but could be used for the greater good. He introduced the Expendable program, proposing a law that would allow only one expendable per planet, promising to destroy any clones that were duplicated. Now 17 wakes up to find 18 moving him inside a cart. He recalls Nasha saying, "Each Mickey is slightly different, and 18 seems more aggressive." When they reach the cycler room, 17 tries to attack 18 from behind, but 18 notices and starts beating him. 17 offers a deal. They could split their shifts and take turns dying. 18, however, doesn't understand why 17 fears death and insists on pushing him into the cycler ring anyway. Their confrontation is interrupted when they hear someone approaching, and both Mickeys hide. It's Timo, secretly selling Oxoof, a recreational drug, to other crew members. After the buyer leaves, 18 confronts Timo, blaming him for ruining his life with a business idea. He pushes Timo into the cycler, but is interrupted when 17 tackles him. 17 tries to save Timo, but 18 pulls him away. The clones exchange a few punches before 18 grabs a hot metal rod and prepares to kill. This is interrupted again when Nasha and Zeke enter the room. 18 threatens Timo, telling him to pretend he accidentally fell and was saved by 18 to avoid exposing his Oxoof business. 17 watches this from the shadows, growing increasingly jealous when he sees Nasha leave with 18. He tries to follow them, but is stopped by a church representative who asks him for a picture with the company mascot. The representative announces that Mickey has won a private dinner with Kenneth and Yalifa. At dinner, Mickey can't stop eating the delicious food. After Kenneth apologizes for his reaction to Jennifer's death, Kai joins them. The couple apologize to her for Jennifer's death and reveal their future plan to ensure the colony is pure-blooded, and they want her to have children. Suddenly, Mickey throws up on the floor, and the scientists science team rushes in. They notice a rash on Mickey's neck and conclude that the experimental growth hormone in the meat caused it. The team has been developing a special antidote, and they inject him with it. However, he stumbles around in excruciating pain until he collapses. Kenneth considers it more humane to kill him, and Yalefa move for carpet to avoid the bloodstains. Kai thinks it's insane that Mickey is being treated this way, but Kenneth reminds her that Mickey is just an experiment. Mickey pleads not to be killed as he's feeling better, and Kai takes him away. In Kai's room, Mickey notices photos showing that Kai and Jennifer had been in a relationship. Kai asks Mickey what dying is like. He wants to understand what Jennifer experienced. Mickey admits that dying is terrifying, and he absolutely despises it. Kai leans in, trying to get affectionate, but Mickey panics and bolts. Back in his room, Nasha immediately recognizes him as 17, implying that 18 already told her. She pulls out a lipstick and draws numbers on the clones' chests, laughing as she does. 18's mood is more relaxed now. 17 spots an empty bottle and realizes they've used Oxupol. An argument breaks out between the clones, but Nasha quickly steps in. She says they can share chores and food. Then she leads them to bed for some fun. But just as things are getting intimate, Kai walks in. She sees everything. Without a word, she walks out. Nasha hurries after her. The clones are left watching TV, a ridiculous talk show featuring Kenneth and his scientists. 18 throws his drink at the screen, furious. 17 starts recounting what happened during dinner. 18 grabs Nasha's gun and storms out, determined to kill Kenneth. Meanwhile, Nasha catches up to Kai, who wants to report the multiples since they're illegal. Kai tells Nasha she could silence her if she just gave her a Mickey, but Nasha refuses. Mickey's not a toy to pass around. Their argument gets cut short when 18 runs past them, and 17 rushes after, shouting that 18 has a gun. Just then, a creeper bursts from the rock. Panic ensues. Everyone scrambles. Kenneth climbs on a table, barking orders to sterilize the area and capture the monster alive. Scientists in hazmat suits chase the creeper but fail. Kenneth sees 17 entering and orders him to join the pursuit. When the creeper collapses, 17 mimics its sounds loudly, catching Dorothy's attention. 18 retrieves the gun and opens fire, but 17 and Nasha tackle him. The bullet grazes Kenneth's cheek and punches a hole through the diamond. Kenneth is about to rant when a second creeper lunges out of the shadows and clamps onto his face. Chaos breaks out. Kai and the guards unleash fire, reducing the creature to goo. Scientists scramble to contain the first one. Below, the cry of a baby echoes up from the crevasse, loud enough for its mother to hear. Minutes later, Nasha and the clones are locked in cages. An argument breaks out about the creepers. 17 says they were repulsed by him, but Nasha corrects him. The creepers saved his life and treated him like an honored guest. Suddenly, a bag hits the sleeping guard's head. It's Timo, sneaking in thanks to a deal with the guard, who's actually his client. He hands 17 a letter left at his door. Darius's men have followed them into space. Darius says he'll forgive the debt if Timo sends him a video of Mickey being chainsawed. The guard sets up the camera. Timo breaks down crying, begging 17 to help him. He says he's doomed either way. Kai calls him out for being dramatic. Timo immediately drops the act and orders the guard to taste 17. 18 interrupts, offering himself instead. He claims he has a higher pain threshold, but asks for a dose of Oxupol first. When the guard hands it over, 18 grabs his wrist and slams his head into the bars. The same time, Nasha grabs the guard's weapon and uses the taser on Timo. Then she grabs the keys, unlocks the cell, and takes the chainsaw, ready to end Timo herself. Before she can, Zeke arrives and catches them all in the act. Everyone gets arrested again. As they're marched through the corridors, 17 remembers all the times Nasha protected him. When they reach the observation deck, they see creepers surrounding the ship. Scientists carry the crying baby past. Dorothy sees 17 and repeats the strange sounds he made. When he repeats them back, she lights up. She thinks it might be a language, maybe even one she can decode. Everyone is herded into the cycling room. Yelif slices off the baby's tail to make a new sauce. Kenneth takes a hot metal rod and brands 18's cheek to tell the clones apart. Then he orders the scientist to delete the memory backup. Kenneth starts ranting about the creepers, but Nasha snaps back. They're the natives here. The humans are the invaders. She also reveals the creepers spared Mickey's life. Kenneth laughs.
calling Mickey trash even the creepers didn't want. Dorothy cuts in, saying she's making progress on the translator. The baby spits at Kenneth. He throws the hot rod in retaliation. Frustrated, he rants that nothing makes sense. Nasha yells back. Furious, Kenneth grabs the baby and dangles it over the cyclinger, tossing Nasha a rope and forcing her to catch it with her teeth to keep the child from falling in. Zeke discreetly tells his man to activate the camera in his glasses. Kenneth demands the creepers be exterminated.
But Yalefa has another idea. She straps bombs to the clones' backs and hands Kenneth 2 detonators. The challenge? Cut off as many creeper tails as possible. First to 100 wins. On their way out, 17 blames himself for the crash, but 18 says the car was defective. The button pushing was a coincidence. They shouldn't carry the guilt of their mother's death. At the entrance, Dorothy slips them a prototype translator. In the crowd of creepers, they find the mother. She recognizes Mickey. She knows his name. She reminds him that she saved him, and humans repaid her by killing her child. If the captive creeper dies, she'll retaliate with extinction. To make her point, she lets out a screech. The babies echo her cry. The clones cover their ears. The mother explains this sound can rupture human brains and burst eyeballs. On board, Kenneth and Yalefa panic. The clones are communicating with the creatures. 17 runs to the cameras and flashes C3 with his fingers. Nasha sees it. It means bring the baby. Yalefa and the church rep dismiss it. Kenneth, not a clone, should represent humanity. As Kenneth prepares for his entrance, 17 tells the mother that Nasha will bring the baby, but she wants more. Balance. A human child for a creeper child. 3 vehicles led by Kenneth roll out. Elsewhere, Nasha makes a bold leap and catches Yalefa midair with her legs. Zeke grabs the rope. Nasha promises to release Yalefa if they let her deliver the baby. Zeke hesitates, then agrees. Just as he's passing the rope, Yalefa slashes his wrist. The rope slips, but Nasha catches it in time. Yalefa demands her arrest. Zeke announces an investigation. Kenneth and Yalefa are now under review for abuse of power. The vehicles approach. Baby creepers rush their mother, stacking into confusing shapes. The guards hesitate. They can't tell which is the right target. Kenneth picks one at random, but before he acts, 18 appears. The church rep shoves a soldier, and the rocket explodes prematurely, saving everyone from the clone's bomb. Kenneth fires, hitting only the camera. 18 charges at him. Nasha arrives with the baby. 18 announces he'll be the sacrifice, the human the mother demanded. Kenneth tries to manipulate him, playing on his fear. But 18 presses the button. The explosion kills them both. The creepers retreat. In the aftermath, the whole crew is imprisoned. Timo, in a shocking move, bites off one of Darius's men's ears and throws him into the cyclinger. He's released on probation, citing self-defense. The trial becomes a circus. When Nasha is finally released, she runs for committee. She wants to fix the system from within. Dorothy finishes the translator. Mickey talks to the creepers often now. He learns the screech was just noise. The mother had been bluffing. 6 months later, Mickey sees someone at the cyclinger. It's Yalefa, printing a new Kenneth. He reminds her she's supposed to be dead. She holds out her bleeding hand. He touches it. This time, unlike the memory of his mother's death, he's not afraid. He wakes up, sitting in a crowd, listening to Nasha give a speech as the new committee leader. She announces the end of the Expendables program. Mickey presses a button. The cyclinger explodes.
Thank you for watching. Make sure to hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an exciting story. More thrilling recaps are on the way, and you won't want to miss them. Drop a comment below and let me know your favorite moment from this story. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Stay tuned, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one. Movie Recap Time Team.